Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2 Unit 8 review. Remember to show every step and to write your final answers on the line. So let's go ahead and look at the directions for the first three. It tells us that we need to simplify. So I have to factor. To help me stay organized, I'm going to do the blue one, factor the blue one right there, and then I'm going to factor the pink one right there. So we got x squared minus 25. What I notice is that this is the difference between two squares. And the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 25 is 5. And then we turn one of those into a positive and one into a minus. Now, the 3x squared plus 11x minus 20, we have to do the a times c. And we get negative 60. So we want numbers that multiply to get to negative 60 and add to get to 11. Can you think of any? Well, if you haven't written the list down already, you should have, okay? But what works is negative 4 and 15. Remember, they have to work in both cases. So when we split that middle term, we get 3x squared minus 4x plus 15x minus 20. We have to split it in half, take out the GCF of the first group, which is an x, and then we're left with 3x minus 4. The GCF of the back is a 5, and that's a positive 5. And then we're left with 3x minus 4, which is perfect because those match. And then our other one was x plus 5. Okay, well, now that I've done all that work, I've got to put everything back together, okay? So remember that the blue was on top and the pink was on the bottom. All right, so the blue was x plus 5, x minus 5, and then we had 3x minus 4, x plus 5. And what cancels? That's right, the x plus 5s. So then our final answer, on the top we had x minus 5, and then on the bottom, 3x minus 4. Okay, number 2. Now, the first thing I noticed about number 2 is at the top, what's that break down to? That's the difference of the cubes, okay? So we have to take the cubed root, and then we have to remember the pattern. So the pattern for subtraction is minus, plus, plus. The cubed root of w, w cubed is w. The cubed root of 64 is 4. Okay, and then w squared plus 4w plus 16. Okay, and now the bottom, we're going to have to do a little side work for that too. We need numbers that multiply to get to negative 12 and add to get to negative 1. Okay, and that should be 3 and negative 4. I can go straight into the answer because it's a shortcut. So w plus 3, w minus 4. Okay, the w minus 4's cancel out, and then our answer is w squared plus 4w plus 16, all divided by w plus 3. All right, number 3. When we're simplifying like this, we want to see, can we reduce that fraction? And we can divide it by 3. So that would give me negative 5 on the top and 7 on the bottom. And now I want to look at my x's. Who wins? Does the top win or does the bottom win? The bottom, and the bottom wins by 4. So we would have x to the 4th on the bottom. And now let's look at the y's. Who wins, the top or the bottom? The top wins, and the top wins by 2. So that would be y squared. Okay? All right, number 4. Now we are on to multiplying. Okay? And there's a couple different ways that we can do this. We can multiply everything straight across. We can reduce when we can. It really depends on how comfortable you guys are. So I'll do a couple examples of each. For this one, I'm just going to multiply everything straight across. Okay? 3 times -2 is -6. We add up all the variables and we get m to the 9, n to the 5th. On the bottom, we have 4 times 9, which is 36, m, n to the 5th. Why don't you guys see if you can pause the video and you can simplify it all on your own. Okay, you should have gotten -m to the 8th over 6. -6 over 36 reduces to -1 over 6, so technically you can have a 1 there, but you don't need it. Okay, the m's, the top wins by 8, and both of the n's cancel out. So we're done. That's it. All right, number 5. Before we even do this, we want to factor everything. So let's go ahead and start. Once again, that's the difference, or this one would be the sum of 2 cubes. So we would need to know the pattern and the cube roots. So for the difference of, or the sum, I'm sorry, I keep saying difference, the sum of the cubes, it's plus minus plus. So we get m squared minus 2m plus 4. All right. Now, the nice thing about this is that the GCF, the leading coefficient is 1. So we can do our shortcut here. So multiplies to -10 and adds to -3. That is 2 and 5. And which one's negative? Good, the 5 is. So that breaks down to m plus 2, m minus 5. And I can already start to see what things are going to cancel out, but we're going to wait till the very end. All right. So what about the pink? Is there anything we can factor out? Well, yeah, we could factor out a 3m, right? So the 3m comes out front, and then we're left with m minus 5. All right, last one. We need numbers that multiply to get to 4 and add to get to -2. Oh, is there a GCF first? I'm sorry, I'm skipping a step. Yeah, first we have to factor out the GCF. Then we see, is there anything that multiplies to get to 4 and adds to get to -2? No. So there we go. Now that we have everything factored, what can we cross out? Well, m plus 2, m plus 2. Oh, m minus 5, m minus 5. M squared minus 2m plus 4 and m squared minus 2m plus 4. Oh, wow. And the m's, that's right. So the only thing that's left for this guy is a 3. All right, number 6. Why don't we see if you guys can factor this all on your own, okay? So when you are doing this, make sure to give yourself lots of room. Keep track of where everything goes. and good luck. Go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so there's everything factored. The blue one, the top left, had the most work, where we had to split the middle term, and that's n plus 3, 2n minus 5. Then we had the yellow, n squared minus 9, which was the difference of two squares. 4n plus 10 in the pink, all we had to do was take out a GCF. In the gray, once again, it was the difference of two squares. So, looking for things that we can cross out. We can cross out the n plus 3's, 2n minus 5 with 2n minus 5, and 2n plus 5 and 2n plus 5. And then our final answer, what's left over, is we have 2 as our numerator, and n minus 3 is our denominator. All right, number 7. Now we are dividing. It's very important that you look to see what the operation is, because with division, we have to flip the second fraction, okay? So my first fraction stays the same, the 7x squared y to the 4th over negative 3x cubed. And now, if you want to keep track of everything, there we go. We got the 12x to the 5th, y to the 4th come up top, and 7y to the 8th. Now, it can be very tricky to try to cross off a bunch of things when they're not added up completely. But what you can cross off is some of the numbers, okay? I see a 7 and a 7, I can cross that off. And then we have the 12 and negative 3, I can reduce that, okay? 12 over negative 3 would be 4 over negative 1. Now let's add all of our exponents up. So on the top, we have x to the 7, y to the 8th. And on the bottom, we have x cubed, y to the 8th. So why don't we pause the video and see if you guys can reduce that all on your own, or simplify. Okay, and when you cancel everything out, the x's went on the top, and when you're left with 4, the y's are gone, and then we just have that negative 1 on the bottom. And you don't need to have negative 1. You can just make it negative, okay? So those are the answers for 1 through 7. I'm going to make another video for the back side of the homework, okay? This is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra 2, Chapter 8 review. Thanks for watching.